the whole concept of rural fire protection, and it's something we still need to work on today. I don't have any rural fire folks there. That could be why we're struggling with this question. Please.
I'll take a shot at it, although the largest wildland fire, I can tell you, the largest wildland fire I've ever been to is smaller than this room. Okay, so, being a city firefighter. But,
the tree, right?
Yeah, we didn't do that, we just kind of stayed on the road. You know, coming from the NFPA, I learned an awful lot about the WUI problem at the NFPA. That's really the only experience I have in it. But I think it's something that, and I don't know if the newer EFO programs are addressing it, but it's something that wasn't addressed in the program when I went through, and it's a major concern. We're losing 500 homes, 800 homes, 1,000 homes, 2,000 homes in a single incident. You know, that and the problem only seems to be getting worse. It's certainly something that needs our attention. Having said that, the EFO program is helping us address it by just providing us with the skills that we need to approach it in a way that is going to be able to come up with a meaningful solution.
And Chief Rodriguez, you must have urban wildland interface someplace on Puerto Rico.
Yes, we have a program in the south of the island where there are a lot of grass fires. Last week we have about 110 grass fires in the island, in the south of the island. The island, in the south of the island, there is not too much rain there in the south of the island, and this is the dry season for that part of the island. In Puerto Rico, we working together with the U.S. Forest Service, and actually last month we started 10 forest firefighters start working for the Puerto Rico Fire Department with funds from the U.S. Forest Service. Yes, and also we are gonna start a special campaign of fire prevention, forest fire prevention for kids, together with the Forest Service and Smokey Bear. It's going to be with us, and it's going to work with Sparky too. You know Sparky?
I know Sparky.
So we're going to start that campaign in Puerto Rico. And we had one forest fire last 2 weeks ago, and it burns about 100 acres of land, of grass, of the forest. So the grass fires in Puerto Rico is a big problem, but we're working with it now.
Yeah, Joe.
I can attest to what far has come. Many of the leaders of the Florida fire chiefs have been graduates of the EFO program, and they took charge of Red Destiny a number of years ago and have the greatest mutual aid system, I think, in the country outside of California, in terms of being able to mobilize for very large incidents, especially the forest fires, brush fires. Many of the brush fires down there will run 2 or 3 weeks at a time. They had a terrible time back in 90, what was it, Bill? 98. When they burned up Central Florida. We had an incident the following year in an area called Hunters Creek that went on for 3 weeks. And everybody works together. When we have a hurricane, that same program went into being able to react to providing mutual aid anywhere in the state, and actually even out of state. Our units went all the way up to the Panhandle. Some of them ended up over in Alabama when the hurricanes hit. It all came out of leadership developed here at the Academy.
And moving on to the last major topic, that's the American burning. It talks about programs for the future. And the recommendations are strengthen fire research. It recommended the U.S. Fire Administration should be housed in HUD. It also recommended that any federal assistance be limited to those organizations that were participating in the National Fire Data System. And finally, to double up on Lou's observation about the original America Burning, recommended that the United States Fire Administration budget for 1973 should be $124,843,000 in 1973 dollars. If we were just to have gotten that amount of money and just for adjusting for inflation today, the National Fire Academy's budget would be $634,331.18. So I don't think we're anywhere near what we were supposed to get, so we need to send a bill to somebody. So in terms of future programs about research and those kind of things, how do you see EFO helping reach that goal that America Burning saw so many years ago?
There we go. You talked about fire research. The EFO, one of the things that sort of stand out is, I'll give you an example, seatbelts. Now, when we look at seatbelts, and you have a firefighter who doesn't wear one, ask him or her why. State law. Why are we having firefighters getting killed without wearing seatbelts? Calling or knowing when to call a mayday. These are very simple things that through the EFOP and the research, these are some of the things we need to find out, because it's the basic stuff that's causing our firefighters to get killed. We talked about the budget. It's amazing on how come money transcends our budgets and it can put a price tag on somebody's life. One of the things that we need to do as both human beings and also EFO graduates or students is we need to be able to justify to the constituents why we exist. And what I mean by that simply is this. They came in and told you we're going to cut your budget by 1/3. Do you have a plan prepared to justify why you exist? If they came to you and said, we're going to put 2 engine companies and a ladder company out of service, do you have a plan to justify keeping those companies? This is where the EFO really needs to take a look at, because in this day and age, we have fire departments that are getting cut. If you look in the volunteer world, retention and recruitment of volunteers is crucial. So when we look at fire research and also the budget, I think the EFO should sort of be looking in that area as far as more information and research so that we can all help each other so that these budget cuts don't affect us. Thank you.
Anybody else want to tackle the programs for the future? Yes.
Yes.
I think the American Fire Service right now is facing probably the most difficult time we have had in many years, probably since the Depression, because we're, in effect, have been through a depression. And everybody is hurting for money. Budgets are tight. Every time you pick up something on the internet, you see that this fire department is having to cut positions, cut companies, and everything else. And I think what was said here about research supporting the efforts of why we have to have what we have now is very critical. I think that we're in for very difficult times. I know in the Orange County Fire Department they're struggling. Last year they had a $120 million budget roughly. They had a $7 million cut. This year we're going into a new budget year, October 1st, going to have an $11 million cut. And they're very, very concerned about what's going to happen next fiscal year because of the reduction in the values of property, because after all, values of property is what our income is based on. The assessment values of homes and commercial properties. In Florida, they have a homestead program where the first $50,000 of your value of your home, assessed value of your home is tax-free. Well, the burden goes on the commercial properties. Now, all of a sudden, we're starting to see commercial properties being foreclosed. That scares the living daylights out of everybody. And I think it's critical that as a group, EFO graduates get their heads together and figure out how they can challenge what's going on so we don't lose what we've gained over the last few years.
Chief Rodriguez, did you have something?
The last one.
It looks like it's on.
Yeah, in the last 2 months, there were in Puerto Rico about 15 residential fires too, grass fires. In 3 of those residential fires, we had 5 fire fatalities. Okay, and the 4 of them were people 50 years and over, and one was about 40 years old. The fatalities were in two homes, and they had no smoke detectors. After that, many people from the media asked me if the fire department has available fire prevention programs, and we do have fire prevention programs during all the years in schools, in communities, and if somebody asks us for any conference about fire prevention, how to use fire extinguishers, we have all that information available. But the public, the media doesn't know that. We were afraid of that. So after that, I am organizing, together with my press officer, a campaign about telling the community about the importance about the smoke detectors, and also a little bit, we're going to speak a little bit about what the fire department is doing in the community, because the fire department was failing about that. And we're going to continue with the smoke detectors installation program, and with the public service announcement in all the island. Also, we're gonna fix our fire academy. When I applied to the fire department, I found some things that I can fix to bring more a better service to the firefighters who attend the academy and to the people who take training there in our fire academy. And let's see, those are the most important plans that I have for the department. But I know.